Hey everyone, intuitive and astrologer Lisa Salvatore here to talk to you about September and the full moon that is coming up on September the 10th. So today that I'm recording this video, it is September 2nd. I hope that this month brings in blessings and abundance for all of us. So I want to mention that today, September 2nd, we have an alignment of Mercury, the planet of communication, which is now currently in Libra, and Jupiter, the planet of expansion and benevolence and faith. And Jupiter is currently in Aries, going big. So Mercury in Libra opposite Jupiter in Aries is an energy that is kind of really nice. And I want to bring it up because whenever you watch this video, whether I upload it tonight, which I probably won't, so you may not even watch it until September 4th, 5th, 6th, whenever, but I want you to think back to September 2nd, today that I'm recording this video, and what if anything came up for you, if anything came through for you, if you got word on a project or a situation or a relationship, or if some sort of information came to you in a positive manner, something positive. This would be something that would be expansive. This would be something that would shed a nice light onto something for you. And it could be small. It doesn't have to be very big, very loud, but it could be small. But I want you to pay attention to it. And I want you to note it in your mind, in your soul, in your psyche. I want you to note it because we're going to have the same configuration come up again on September the 18th while Mercury is retrograde. Mercury will then oppose Jupiter again. And I'm bringing that up because you may get another nice little nugget of insight around that time frame, okay, while Mercury's retrograde. Now, today, September 2nd, Mercury is not retrograde yet, but Mercury is about to station retrograde. Mercury is slowing down and Mercury's energy is ramping up, meaning that yes, the planet itself is slowing down to get ready to start its backspin until October 2nd, I believe. But the thing is that while Mercury is slowing down, we do tend to feel the energies of Mercury ramp up. And so again, today the 2nd, even into the 3rd tomorrow, there could be some nice moments or some information that comes to you that's very beneficial. Jupiter, right? Very beneficial. Helps you see the way more clearly. It helps you to recognize that something might just work out, but maybe in a different way. Whatever it is, there's a sense of positivity attached to it when you look at the bigger picture. That's what this Mercury-Jupiter opposition is all about. And then again, pay attention to the 18th. And also, by the way, September 22nd. And again, I'll come back, guys, as the month progresses and do more energy reports because it's easier to do it in smaller chunks for you to digest it. And also to remember and to take note of key dates, or if anything does come up for you, you can track it back and see, oh, wow, yes, that makes sense for me. But also on September 22nd, Mercury, still retrograde, is actually going to have its cazimi moment, which is basically when Mercury meets up with the sun and gets engulfed in the rays of the sun. And that's always a really beautiful moment for any kind of communication project, even though Mercury is retrograde. It's a good time for any kind of communication project, for putting something out into the universe, even if it's just by way of journaling, you know, putting your words to paper, just to kind of give you that uplift energy. Now listen, if you've been following me for a while, you know I don't tend to make a big deal about Mercury retrograde for many various reasons that I won't get into right now. But bottom line is I'll go through the retrograde cycle and I will point out key moments, key dates, or what the energy is like, and you'll know exactly what's going on. But to broadly say that Mercury retrograde's bad or annoying, and yes, it's annoying at times, or bad, or you shouldn't sign documents, or you shouldn't start new projects, I'm not going to say that to you because the truth is we cannot necessarily always avoid certain things. Sometimes people have to sign a contract while Mercury's retrograde. Something good comes in and you have to sign paperwork. Just triple check all of your documents, back up all of your files. You should actually be doing it now prior to the retrograde because we already are in the shadow. But doing all of those things just ensures that it might be less of a nuisance, okay? Because yes, Mercury retrograde can be annoying. There can be travel delays. We're already experiencing several travel delays, so it's not gonna be that much different. But I think this one, because we're dealing with Virgo Libra energy, will definitely center around information. Information coming in, information going out. So again, when it comes to communicating, and let's not forget, that Mars is also now in Gemini, and I've done a full-on video about that, so I'm not going to go too deeply there, but it's linked below, and you can definitely check that out. You're going to want to check that out if you haven't already. But Mars's transit through Gemini is going to be a 7-month-long stint, which is not common for Mars, but Mars is also going to station retrograde during that time. And so yes, Mars is now direct, but Mars is picking up traction. Mars is picking up steam. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury factors into the Mars energy as well here. And this is bringing a sense of power and more energy and awareness to our words, to what we speak, to what we think even. And so yeah, it's really important to keep sight of all that is going on right now, because for September, and I've been saying this for the past few weeks, it feels like we see the way more clearly and we could be gaining traction and we could feel like we're gaining momentum, but there is still this sense of not being able to go too far, or maybe not being able to get as far as you'd like to go, which can feel frustrating. And there's very many reasons for that, but if you can keep in mind that when the doors open and you choose to walk through them, and things tend to flow. And yeah, maybe here and there you have to do some revisions. Of course, that's what retrograde energy is all about. But the reality is, when doors open, when something comes to you, when something's presented to you, okay, if it's Mercury retrograde, so what? It's being presented to you for a reason. There's a divinely orchestrated reason for your soul to have a certain experience at a specific time. And the planets are always doing things. So listen, it's not going to always be the most optimal time, the most ideal time, but we have to deal with it as best as we can. So awareness is half the battle. But it's important to remember that while Mars is in Gemini, and Mars entered Gemini back on August 20th, while Mars is in Gemini and still direct, it's going to have our energies, our motivations very scattered. And in a lot of ways, it could be very good because it could be very mentally stimulating, and we could be really thinking about taking action in various ways, many different ways. You know, I always joke because I have a Gemini rising, Gemini ascendant, and I'm always doing two things at once. I notice that. Unless I'm doing something like this, or when I'm working with clients, obviously I'm solely focused on them. But myself personally, like even last night, I was catching up on some crap TV. I'm not going to tell you what I was watching, but I was keeping up with one of my junk shows. And I got up and decided, you know what, I'm going to paint my nails right now because I can't just sit here and watch the show. I need to do something else because that's Gemini. It needs constant stimulation from different sources. And so while Mars, the planet of action, is in Gemini, our minds are like, there's just so much going on. There is so much stimulation. We probably want to do many different things. And if you are a Mars in Gemini at birth, you will totally resonate with what I'm saying. But it's almost like that Speedy Gonzalez energy. And in a lot of ways, that could serve us very well for trying to do things a different way and give us extra juice, right? Because Mars is the juice. But again, it's very important to remember that it could spin us out. It could be too much. So we have to take those moments to stop. And that is the thing about September, is that it's going to feel like go, 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 boom, stop. Go, 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 boom, stop. And it can feel frustrating. And just roll with it. Just remember that when something is presented to you and it feels right in the seat of your soul and it feels good and it seems to flow in some form or fashion, even if revisions are necessary, that is a divine way of you knowing that this is for you. Now, if there's something that you're going for and you continuously hit up against obstacles and blockages, well then, just like it's the divine's way of telling you, go ahead, go forward, this is the way of saying no. Put the roadblocks up for now. We can revisit this later. Take the struggle internal and revise it. And so if it's meant to take form in a different way, it will when it's right for that to do so, okay? So now also factoring into this mix, we're still dealing with Saturn square Uranus, which has been an energy that's been going on since 2021 strongly. And I'm bringing this up because as we get into October, it's going to get closer and closer into an exact hit. And again, this is something we're going to talk about as we get closer to it. But it's important that I bring this up because again, the fixed energies, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, especially around that 18-degree mark, because that's the degree that Saturn and Uranus are going to boom exactly square at, okay? And basically that's going to be the beginning of October. So October 1st into around the 12th or so, that Saturn-Uranus square is going to be exact at 18 degrees. So again, if you have anything fixed around those degrees, you're already feeling it. You've already been feeling this pressure cooker energy. I know you have. And it's not just been right now. This was also, last year, but not this degree. So the 18-degree mark specifically, and I'm gonna even stretch it like 16 to 20, let's just say, of the fixed energies, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, definitely going to be feeling the Saturn-Uranus square. And so you may feel that restrictive energy more strongly, like you want to break free. You're going to recognize what needs to shift and what needs to change, and maybe the universe is throwing it at you very quickly, before you can even land on your feet, but then Saturn might pump the brakes. And so there is this energy of freedom and restriction, the old versus the new, or a significance around limitations that might be being placed upon you in some way or form in your life. But change is the name of the game. So if you have anything at those points of the fixed energies, you understand what I'm talking about because you've been feeling it. This is not just your sun sign. This is your sun, your moon, your ascendant, your north node, even your Venus, your Mars. Anything that's fixed around the 18-degree point is going to feel the Saturn-Uranus square right now and is going to feel even more like a pressure cooker. But that's not to say that good cannot come out of this. Good will likely come out of it. You just have to be mindful of the fact that it might feel still like you're trudging through quicksand. Now, collectively speaking, we're all going to feel that Saturn-Uranus square, but the fixed people are going to feel it more on the personal level. I just want to be clear about that. But again, there's still somewhat of a frenetic energy, yet at the same time, there's a calmness that's coming through. Very, very interesting times right now. Very, very interesting energy. And let's not forget that the past couple of days especially, there's been a lot of solar activity. The sun has been getting hit with, we've been having solar flares. And especially August 30th, 31st, and yesterday the 1st were really intense days. So if you found yourself with a lot of head pressure, sore muscles, difficulty sleeping, overwhelming emotions, more overwhelming than normal, and just an overall exhausted feeling or just energy through the body or just feeling off, this is likely why. Our physical bodies do feel this energy. So we're dealing with a lot right now, okay? But on the positive side, it's Virgo season. Virgo definitely coerces us into going inward and reflecting and revising things anyway. And on top of that, we have many planets that are retrograde right now. The outer planets are retrograde: Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, all retrograde. Both Jupiter and Saturn are retrograde. Mercury is about to station retrograde. September 9th, Mercury will station. And Mars is in Gemini and not going to station retrograde until October 30th. But we are going to really start to feel that as we get to the first and second week of October. So the revising energy will be strong, but so will that scattered energy. So just keep that in mind. So use your grounding tools. Do whatever it is that calms you down and that helps you to go inward, and take a moment. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to keep up with. There's a lot to process on every single level. One more thing before we get to the new moon. Speaking of Saturn-Uranus, I wanted to mention that if you were born specifically in the year of 1988, and even more specifically in February, June, or October, Saturn and Uranus were conjunct at that time. They were like exactly aligned, okay? First in Sagittarius, and then they moved into Capricorn, where they stayed for quite some time. So that means that this Saturn-Uranus square is actually going to set off your Saturn-Uranus conjunction. I hope that that doesn't confuse you. But basically, what that means is you will not be bored. Change is the name of the game for you. And again, that may be subtle. It may not be huge. For some, it might be much bigger. You know, for some of you, you may decide to make this big move you've been trying to make for years, and boom, this kicks it off and you go. There's many ways that this can take place. And I do feel that for the 1988ers, it is mostly positive. So don't stress. But I just want to let you know that if you do feel like you're in a pressure cooker, that would likely be why, because as we get closer and closer to the beginning of October and the Saturn-Uranus exact hit, the exact square, it will set off your Saturn-Uranus conjunction and really make the change start to accelerate. Time will really feel like it is speeding up for you if you're born in 1988, especially February, June, and October. And just for frame of reference, Saturn and Uranus are not going to meet up like this again until 2043, which is why it is so significant. Okay, so like I mentioned, Mercury will station retrograde officially on September 9th in the sign of Libra. You will likely be asked to revisit a lot of your relationships, the way that you negotiate, the way that you communicate, and if it's fair on both sides. There may be some of that coming up for all of us when it comes to important connections in our lives. Then on September 10th, we have a really nice full moon in the sign of Pisces. Now, as we know, the full moon occurs when the sun and the moon are exactly opposite one another, 180 degrees from each other, opposite, in the opposing sign. So the sun is currently in Virgo, which means that this full moon is going to be in the opposite sign of Pisces. Now, this is a busy full moon because we've got a lot of mutable energy, and mutable energy is adaptable, it's changeable, it moves around. It's stimulating. We've got the sun in Virgo, we've got the moon in Pisces, we've got Venus now in Virgo at the time of this full moon, Mars is in Gemini, and Neptune is in Pisces. So those are all the mutable signs. So there's a lot of mutable energy surrounding this full moon. Now we know full moons are always a time of heightened intuition, increased awareness, heightened sensitivities, also being very emotional, for better or worse. So expect this full moon to be that times 10 with all of the mutable energy that's surrounding it. We've also got the sun in Virgo lining up nicely with the North Node in Taurus, which lends to really strong mental energy. But there's a lot of it, and it could still feel quite scattered. So be gentle with yourself. Now, regardless of what is going on around you and within you, the Pisces full moon encourages us to take a moment, maybe a day or two, to check out, because that's what Pisces is about. Pisces is a water sign. It's the 12th and final sign of the zodiac. It is very mystical. It is very psychic. It's very impressionable. It's very artistic. It can also lend to fantasy. This is a good energy to actually allow yourself to check out a little bit from the responsibilities, because we are in Virgo season, and the sun in Virgo does tend to make us feel more responsible, like we really want to get things done. We really want to be more organized. But again, because there's been so much going on, this Pisces full moon encourages us to stop and take a moment and lean into the magic. Get to the water if you can. I'm going to be actually at the beach, and I'm super duper excited for that, because believe it or not, I have not been to the beach this year, which is like insane for me and very not normal, but I cannot wait to go. But anyway, the Pisces full moon is a great time to energize yourself near the water. And if you can't be near the water, you'd be amazed at what an Epsom salt bath can do for you, or a Dead Sea salt bath, or even just listening to the sounds of running water, doing a water meditation. All of this can feel extremely cleansing for you under this energy. Always it does, but more so with the Pisces full moon. And it also can help you really get in touch with your intuition, with your soul. Again, this is a mystical energy. It's actually encouraging us to stop, to take a breath, to go within, to dream, to manifest, also to release what isn't serving us. The Pisces Virgo axis is very healing. Virgo is more of the physical self, where Pisces is the spiritual body. So these two come together, and we recognize where we may be coming up short in one of those areas. Are we spending too much time on the physical plane and not allowing enough time to dream, to meditate, to go inward, to connect? Well, Pisces will remind us that we need to do that as well. There's a balance here. That's what the full moons are about, the polarities. Remember, Pisces is all about the invisible realms. It's about spirit. Pisces rules the 12th house in astrology. The 12th house is the house ruled by Neptune. This is very creative. This is where we are in our emotions. This is where we don't necessarily have the ability to express or explain what goes on. It just goes on. We're very connected to spirit here, to self. Dreams are hugely amplified under this full moon energy. This full moon is actually also conjunct Neptune, and Neptune is the ruling planet of Pisces. So this really serves to intensify and increase the psychic energy. So I've been saying it for a while, you should keep a dream journal anyway, because a lot of messages do come in through the dream space. But more so than ever at this time, around this full moon energy, it will be even more increased. You're getting a lot of downloads, psychic downloads. Now, the shadow energy to Pisces is that it can check out, it can numb out, it can actually escape or avoid. And we don't necessarily want to escape or avoid. We want to check out so we can actually have our moments, but we don't want to avoid the truth. Because the shadow energy to both Pisces and to the planet Neptune can be illusion, deceit, smoke and mirrors, seeing things for just what we want them to be, but not for the reality of what they really are. Also toxicity. So there's something about the cleansing of the body, mind, and spirit on every single level when we are dealing with a Pisces full moon, because it's Virgo energy, the body, and Pisces energy, the spiritual body. So if there's a way in which we can purify, release, that's going to also be amplified under this energy. So again, take care of the physical body, get to the water if you can, dare to dream, keep your journal, do some form of release, habits that are no longer serving your soul, negative ways that you might talk to yourself or about yourself. Time to cut that out. Okay, let's pull up the chart. I actually really like this full moon. I feel like it's somewhat uplifting. It's always good to, check out and dream. Can't be so serious all the time, right? Okay, so our Pisces full moon takes place on September 10th at 5:59 a.m. Eastern time. Obviously, you can set that for your own location, but that's East Coast time. And here we see the moon at 17 degrees and 41 minutes of Pisces, exactly opposite the sun at 17:41 of Virgo. Again, the Virgo-Pisces axis is all about healing, it's all about service, it's all about oneness. Now, the moon is in a sextile to Uranus, which is a supportive aspect. So again, this lends to quick, intuitive insights and down. Again, keep your journal with you, not only your dream journal, but a regular journal, so you can jot things down as they come in. We're still dealing with a square to Mars, okay? The moon at 17, the sun at 17, and Mars is here at 11. So this is squaring Mars. So again, there's just a little reminder that our words can truly heal and our words can also hurt. And under Pisces energy, let's try to use the compassion of Pisces to use our words for good, for healing. So any type of conflict that could come up around this energy, constructively lean into it and be compassionate towards others and towards yourself, because everyone's doing the best that they can. Now, Mars is in Gemini, like we know, and this is all about the media and information. That's Gemini. Mercury is now retrograde at this point. You see Mercury here at 8 degrees and 58 minutes of Libra, has literally just stationed retrograde not too long ago, the evening of the 9th, okay? So within hours of this full moon, Mercury is now officially retrograde. So, you know, as Mercury's stationing and Mars is in Gemini squaring the full moon, you know, there could be a lot of information coming out into the world, but we need to fact check, like I always say, because remember, the shadow energy to Pisces is smoke and mirrors, okay? Now, positively speaking, Mercury is opposite Jupiter, which I talked about in the beginning of the video. That is still operational around this full moon. Only difference is now Mercury's retrograde, so we may have to backtrack a little bit and go inward and revise our ideas. And remember, there's a lot of planets retrograde, which is definitely promoting us doing a lot of editing. Now we see Neptune here at 24 degrees and 12 minutes of Pisces, conjunct the moon. Neptune also rules Pisces. So again, this brings in that heightened element, more increased psychic awareness, heightened awareness of what needs to change and maybe even how we can change it. Much more clearly, we could be getting these visions than ever before. Now, another interesting tidbit around this full moon is that we have a fixed star called Homen, and this fixed star is tightly conjunct the moon. Now, the fixed star Homen actually sits in the constellation of Pegasus, which is actually known as the constellation of words. And again, I'm bringing words into it because Mars is in Gemini squaring the full moon. So we want to watch our words. But also, even more important, the words being spoken to us, the words that we're hearing, carry extra psychic weight. So pay very close attention to not only what is being said, but also what is not being said. Homen speaks to intuition, ambition, and enthusiasm, which is all very helpful around this full moon in Pisces. This is also increasing the intuitive awareness. Now, the shadow side to Homen is that it can also bring in bad judgment. So just don't delude yourself. Make sure, again, that you're fact-checking everything, that you're thinking things through, that you're not just acting hastily, because that may get you into trouble under this energy. But provided that you're, doing your due diligence, it should all work out beautifully for you, even if you can't execute something yet. Now, let's remember that Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, okay? The sun is in Virgo and Mercury is retrograde. So again, there's a lot of emphasis on communication. There's lots of energy surrounding this full moon about improvement, recognition and improvement. Now, there's also a strong energy of calling in the one. So for example, if you're single, if you're looking for love, this is an energy of calling in the one, because this also features Juno, the spouse, the marriage partner. Juno at 14 degrees of Pisces, tightly conjunct this full moon. Also Neptune. So again, there is no harm in doing a manifestation ritual of putting your words to the paper, of putting your list together of what you would like to attract. It doesn't have to just be love. It can really be anything under this energy, but I'm just bringing it in because Juno's here. And I've also linked a video below about Juno. If you want to know more about asteroid Juno, it's linked below. But again, that moon is conjunct Juno, opposite the sun, highlighting what it is that we want. At least to us, it's highlighting it. This is an energy of what serves my soul and an increased determination to get to that. Pluto over here at 26 of Capricorn is harmonizing with Neptune in Pisces. This also helps us to clear our vision and to remain strong in our convictions, but it still allows us to dream. Now, Saturn over here at 20 degrees and 1 minute of Aquarius is still squaring the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio. So this still brings in a little bit of a feeling of restriction, or making sure that everything is being done correctly before we can move forward. And then we've got Ceres over here in Leo. Ceres is the goddess of grains, crops, and agriculture. She's also an asteroid of nurturance, okay? It's the way we nurture ourselves. It's the way we nurture others. It's the way we like to be nurtured. And Ceres is opposite Saturn over here in Aquarius. So again, there's an emphasis on what we need to do to make ourselves feel good, to make ourselves feel better, to make ourselves feel more fulfilled, what nurtures us, what soothes us, but also on the world stage, on the world scale, this could also represent literal restrictions to the supply, to crops, grains, and agriculture, which again, all over the world, we've been hearing about this for months, so this could be, something could be more amplified surrounding that around this full moon. We might hear of some specific form of crop or grain that we cannot get for a certain amount of time. Okay, so this really is a time of getting more centered in the soul, getting more centered within. So again, this is a powerful full moon with strong energy, but it's more on the intuitive level. It's more on the inner level, but it's still just as significant. We're being asked to slow down. We're being asked to connect. We're being asked to go inward. We're being asked to honor where we're at and what is not working and why might it not be working and how can we maybe move forward in a more positive way, in a more constructive way. And remember, we have a lot of planets retrograde, so it's not uncommon to feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. Now, before I get a tarot card for this full moon, I just want to mention that the full moon that Pisces rules over is actually the High Priestess, number 2. And the High Priestess is all about the invisible realms, right? It's Neptune, it's Pisces, it's water. It's all about what we don't see but feel at a very deep level. The High Priestess is a mysterious archetype. She knows things. She's psychic. She's strong in her psychic powers and her psychic energy. She may or may not reveal all that she knows. That's what the High Priestess energy is all about. But it's very deep, it's very magnetic, it's very hypnotic, it's very insightful, it's very intuitive. And so all of those words apply to this full moon. But let me actually pull a card for the full moon in Pisces. So if you are a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, and you have significant points or placements around that 17-degree mark, so say between 14 and 19, you're going to really feel this intuitive full moon energy the strongest. Also, if you have a water moon, specifically Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, or any of the mutable signs at those points and placements, Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces, especially Virgo and Pisces, you're going to really be feeling this full moon energy. I think I shuffled enough. Judgments, major arcana card. Okay, so the Judgment card. Judgment is ruled by Pluto. Judgment is all about transformation. Judgment is all about, well, using your judgment, but more than that, Judgment is about hearing the call and acting accordingly. There is something very big about this card. It is a wake-up call in all ways, okay? This is Archangel Gabriel blowing the trumpet. See the figures rising up. There's a sense of resurrection to this card, to this energy, redemption. So again, you know, this is big. This Judgment is a big energy. So this full moon energy will be very revealing, okay? You may even find that you connect to spirit very easily around this full moon, even if that's not normal for you. You may find a lot of visitations coming in through your dream space from your deceased loved ones. Won't be very uncommon, especially around this full moon energy. Judgment's telling us that we've heard the call. So there may be some big reveals around this full moon energy. Something comes to light for you, something that you've been waiting for, or maybe you haven't been waiting for it and it just comes in, but it's life-changing, life-altering. That's what Judgment is all about. And then you're going to have to act accordingly. Be brave, be strong, be open, and be connected. Happy full moon. Make sure to try to get to the water and also to release what is no longer serving your soul and call in that which you know you deserve and desire.